Hello and welcome to Devotion to Writing, a channel devoted to helping you overcome writer's block, break the silence of the page, cultivate a daily writing practice so that you can find depth and consistency in your work and realize that you are creative abundance. So I just finished my last in-person workshop of the 2025 season here on Martha's Vineyard, and I do have one more online workshop coming up that's beginning in November and into December. It's for 5 weeks, and also a 12-week devotion to writing journey that I'm starting online in January. You can check out both of those and learn more about them at devotiontowriting.com. But what I wanted to mention is my takeaway from this last week of working in person with writers for 4 days is that one of the key takeaways is that writing is messy, and it's important that we realize how vital play can be to our writing and our creative process. Now, I touch on play a lot in these workshops, and I also talk about play a lot in these videos because I think it is such an underutilized tool in our writing. It's in fact downright neglected, honestly. I don't think writers have much play in their toolkit, which is a shame. And that's what I want to talk about in this video, that we need to learn that it's okay to be messy in our writing process, and that it is that we need play, that we can employ play, which has in it, baked into it, an inherent messiness, a discovery. So stop being so serious about writing all the time and be, as William Stafford once said, headlong to discover. Headlong to discover in the process of writing or creating. Be willing to discover and to play. It is in play that we make a mess. We need to make messes in order to find out who we are and why we are here, and by extension, what we're supposed to be writing. That is a quote from Anne Lamott, the wonderful writer Anne Lamott. If you haven't read her books on writing and her novels, check them out. They're super useful. So, remember when you were young and how fun it was just to make a mess, to get, finger paints all over your hands, or to just mess it, smear it all over the canvas, or make mud balls, mud pies, mud cakes, to color and just have the crayons strewn all over the table because you were so busy, so focused on coloring, on having fun, on the enjoyment, that you couldn't be bothered to put it back in the box. That is the creative process. Creating is very rarely orderly. It is messy. It incorporates accidents and meanderings and detours and leaps and flashes of inspiration. It builds things just to knock them down. It's the excitement of building a tower as high as you can, knowing that at any moment is going to topple. But the fun, the enjoyment, the thrill is in building it. And that is like our writing. The enjoyment is in writing it, in making it. If we don't fully succeed, and there is no failure, but if we fail, say, to bring what has excited us in this moment when we sit to the page, if we fail to bring that fully into view, into a vision that we feel satisfied with, so what? We've started. We've begun to build this thing, and we can go back to it. And I'm going to get more into that further on in this video about how important it is to get things down that we can then play with. So just because we write something down or type it out doesn't mean it's settled. And maybe this thing, maybe this is the thing that we get hung up on. Sometimes we think that when we set words on a page, we feel that they are in fast drying concrete, that they're mortared in somehow and they can't be moved. But a word, a sentence, even a whole idea in a story isn't fastened in place any more than a note that you play on a piano is fastened in place, or a note that you sing is is mortared in place. It's just ringing in the air. And just because it's on the page doesn't mean it can't be changed. And so that is this word that's ringing in the air. We can just move it around. Just because it's written down doesn't mean it's strapped there, immobilized. No, in fact, it is just a block now that we can play with. We can move it about. We could throw it off a cliff and see if it breaks or see if it bounces. Sometimes in my own practice, I just jot down an approximation of something that I'm writing. It's a word, it's a placeholder. It's maybe the almost right word, but I know it's not quite the right word, but I get something down there just to make it, to hold something there, a space for it. And we talked about this in the writing group the workshop that we just finished. We talked a lot about this, just getting this sketch of an idea down to begin to start to see it. Sometimes I'm writing so rapidly that I have to keep going in order to keep up with the idea that's pouring through me. I don't have time to sit and judge and weigh it. And that, going back to that William Stafford quote about writing to discover, that he writes about that too in the preceding that headlong to discover idea in that quote. He is saying, I don't have time to judge. I don't have time to weigh the value of a word or an idea. I am headlong to discover. So I have that same thing when I'm writing and an idea is pouring through me. I just want to keep up and honor that creative moment as much as I can. I want to just create a gesture, a wobbly structure perhaps, a vessel. It could be a flimsy vessel, but it's a vessel nonetheless, and it's good enough to start holding the firings, the sparks, the beginnings of the writing. And I can go anywhere from there, but now I've got it down. Now I have something I can go to later. It's material. I've begun to describe, literally to write around the thing, the memory, the experience, the feeling that I'm so hungry to get onto the page. Did you ever play that game, by the way, where you are looking for an object in a room and a person will say you're getting warmer or you're getting colder? I think I used to do that with my mom when she'd be like, "Hey, go get the such and such from the room," and I'd be like, "I can't find it," and walk around, and she'd say, "You're getting hot, you're getting cold, you're freezing, you're burning up." That type of thing. So I say this because sometimes writing is like this. We have a hidden object, a subject, an emotion, something that we're trying to visualize that needs to be said, and we're seeking the words for the saying. And sometimes we get a little bit closer, we get warmer with a word, and sometimes we get a little bit further away and colder with a word. It's a game. It's a game to find the right word. The word that is just going to tie it all together. It can be fun. It should be fun. We're playing with words as opposed to paints, as opposed to making mud pies, but we're making a mess. We should be willing to do this. It's okay. This is, without a doubt, one of the best times in history to be a writer. We have so much technology at our hands, word processing being number one. We can make a complete mess, and with a few strokes, rearrange blocks of texts, delete things, reinstate them. We can transport language between various pieces in a few clicks and create entirely new work. We can try new things out and put them back if it doesn't work. So don't be afraid to make a mess. Messes are only opportunities. A mess contains a heap of material, a load of possibilities. Think about a page or many pages. There are words lying all over the place when you create just a page of words. You have all kinds of opportunities with phrases, with music, with ideas to explore. Or you could think of what you've written, all the material, all the pages, as a compost pile, as a big hot mess of living, breathing material that as you work it, you turn it. And as you turn it, it gets hot and it breaks down and becomes this viable, fertile, rich soil from which an entire garden is fed and can grow. A compost pile has nutrients and all, millions of seeds for your future bounty. It is a beautiful mess. So if you're struggling with writer's block or even beginning to write, you're struggling just to get started or struggling to find that flow in your writing, maybe make writing less work and more playful. Invite in play and be willing to make a mess. Allow yourself to do this for a while. And you might discover in this, and you will discover it if you are interested and curious and open, which is what we as writers and artists should be striving to be, curious and open. You will discover patterns, meanings, and beauty out of this living messiness. Writers, artists, creatives, we are alchemists. We transform the mess of pain, suffering, and heartbreak and loneliness of living into forms that pass between the hearts of people and communicate belonging, communicate what it means to be alive, what it means to be human, what it means to feel joy. And this is community, and that's what art does, and that's what we as writers are doing when we plumb the depths of us, when we go in and make a mess, into that mess, and we play, and we find these patterns, and we find these beauties, and we find these songs, and we translate them, and we bring them to the world. So, play today. And that is going to be this prompt for today. I want you, this is a two-parter, maybe a three-parter, write a page of words. It can be random. You could just write random words, or you could write a story, a memory, using a memory, or whatever you want. Does not matter, but type up a page. Type it. That's important. It'll be easier for what's coming next. Type up a page and print it out. Once you've printed it, get scissors and cut out all the words, individual words. You could do some phrases, that's fun too, but all the words, and put them into a can or an envelope. And then I want you to reach in that can or that envelope, grab a pinch, throw them on the table, kind of like doing a divination, a I Ching or something. Put them on the table, and I want you to make a little poem with them. And then when you've done that, write that down or type it up. You can do that. Put the words that you've thrown on the table back in the can or the envelope, mix them up, and do it again. And you can add words to this over time, to the can, to the envelope. You can take pages that you've written. You can take pages from magazines, from the newspaper, from books, cut them all up and put them in this can. And use this mess of words in the can to write and to generate more of these random, playful poems or stories. Even generate your own writing prompts. Just a way to play, to start using language, to start seeing that language, that words are just blocks, these building blocks from which we can construct these beautiful things that mean, that tell stories, that have music in them, and that relate to other hearts. So see what you can do with that prompt. I'd love to hear what you come up with. Feel free to share it with me. Drop it in the comments or send me a personal message. I love to hear from you. I'd love to know how the writing is going and if this prompt helps. And if you would like to learn more about devotion to writing and the work I do, and also about how you can continue to devote yourself and cultivate a consistent writing practice and overcome writer's block, then please subscribe. And also invite you to visit devotiontowriting.com, and there you will find all my upcoming writing opportunities, including my upcoming online opportunities that I talked about at the beginning of this video. I hope you write playfully today. I hope that you find joy in the magical process of writing. I know that if you do write, it will be beautiful, because beautiful is what you are. Blessings.